Kingsmead, situated in Durban, has of course established itself as one of the premier cricketing destinations in South Africa, with a rich history that includes some of cricket's most iconic moments, from the timeless test to the first Proteas test post-isolation. Now, joining us this morning for a chat via Zoom is Heinrich Strydom. He is the CEO of Kingsmead Stadium. Heinrich, good morning, and thank you so much for your time this morning on the AM Report. Let's start there. The first point I made in that intro: how did Kingsmead Stadium establish itself as one of the most iconic destinations when it comes to cricket in South Africa? How did that happen?
Yeah, firstly, good morning, Rachel. Thank you for the opportunity of having me on your program. Yeah, I think Kingsmead is just an incredible history, and over the past year I've had the opportunity to zoom in on all those iconic moments. 100 years of Test cricket is an incredible feat. If you think the stadium has survived world wars, it survived the apartheid years where we were in isolation. So the Durban public as well, if I look at the past game we had against India, which actually rained out, we had 12,000 people here sitting in the rain for about 5 hours. So it just shows you something about the passion for cricket in this area. So I think that all contributed to this iconic stadium and existence of 100 years.
Apologies for that. I'm losing you just a bit there, Heinrich. I'm just hoping that the connection will continue to hold. And let's speak about that test match, that T20 match, of course, a few days ago, washed out due to the inclement weather out in Durban. How much of an economic blow was that? Because we know that India is a crowd puller. You speak about the fans that have come out in their numbers to watch that game. It was an important game because it was the first game after the ODI Cricket World Cup. Talk to us about the impact of that washout. How economically impacted was Kingsmead Stadium due to that?
Yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking when you sit and you see the rain coming in. It's been 4 months of planning, meticulous planning for every single area, the players, the match officials, all the additional items such as the LEDs, the big screens, the sound, generators, floodlights, pitch preparation. So there's just so many things and so many individuals that contribute towards making this happen. So for me, it's very sad and heartbreaking for all those people. You think of the groundsmen, you think of the super sport crew rolling out all their cables, cameras, and prepping, and then nothing to happen. Ironically, we had a good few days of preparations for both teams. The sun was shining. And today, again, it's a beauty of a day in Durban. So, unfortunately, in cricket, I think you learn from a young age, you control the controllables, and you make peace with the rest. Otherwise, you won't sleep at night.
Won't sleep at night. Let's talk about that preparations, Heinrich. Obviously, a lot of work going into ensuring that come at the end of the day that India as well as South Africa are able to play in that T20 match. What then happens when you experience a washout of that magnitude? What is then the impact on the preparations that took place prior to that? What do you guys do? Do you guys go back to the drawing board and hope that in the future you get to host more matches, international matches, of course?
Yeah, I think at least it's a very it's a relatively small percentage of matches that have rained out in the past. There's always this perception around Durban that it rains out whenever you play here. But I think if everybody recalls, in August we also hosted 3 Australian T20s, which we played in perfect weather, 2 sold-out matches. So I think you take the good with the bad. You understand that you can't control the weather, and again it's take a day, recover, and then move on to the next project. Yeah, so I think the impact from a financial point of view, the previous question you actually asked, from a financial point of view, there would be, people will be refunded for their tickets, but unfortunately we've already incurred all our expenses. So yes, from a financial point of view, we will take a bit of a hit. But once again, I think it's still worth having these matches and trying to host it. And I think for the public of Durban and KZN, it's critical that we have these matches on a regular basis.
Obviously, the stadium looks great. In the last recent years, it has gone through a lot of uplifts. Talk to us about ensuring that come the end of the day, the stadium meets the international standard that have been set by the ICC. How important is that, Heinrich?
Yeah, I think with a stadium that's 100 years old, you have to realize there's a lot of heritage in it. One of our stands is actually a heritage site. So for us to build around it and work around it and make sure that we stay modern and relevant with the current times. We've done some incredible things over the past few years. We actually engaged on we called it Operation Kingsmead. We identified various areas in the stadium which we needed to improve. We went on a fact-finding mission around the world to see best practices and then to try and implement it, as many of it. A lot of it might have been cost-effective and not really. It's just a change in mindset and a change in our service delivery. But in a few other instances, we've had to go into our capital resources and ensure that we make those upgrades. We've built 2 incredible decks, which I know people love, especially the younger people, younger generation. It's a place where you can actually be regardless whether there's cricket being played. So even on Sunday we had quite a long evening there, although it was raining. So it just shows you that you have to stick with the times and remain relevant for the next generation to also come and support and be part of this beautiful game.
Part of the beautiful game of cricket. How important, though, is it to diversify, Heinrich, into different sporting codes? You speak about cricket. Yes, it has a great cricketing history, but we know Kingsmead have hosted a couple of rugby matches as well.
I think for us, again, in the modern day and age, to make a stadium self-sustainable, you have to diversify. You have to create a multi-purpose venue. So we've in our upgrades, we've also thought about it. So we've created these venues so we can actually rent it out for weddings, rent it out for year-end functions, all kinds of different events. And I think that with that, all of those events and the revenue that you can get from being used as a multi-purpose venue actually helps us maintain and upgrade going forward.
All right, Heinrich, thank you so much for your time this morning on the AM Report. I appreciate your time and all the best of luck as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a lovely day.
And as, of course, Heinrich Strydom, he is the CEO of Kingsmead Stadium, the stadium celebrating 100 years since the first test match was played at that stadium. Iconic as well, great cricketing history, and obviously also touching on the importance of diversifying into different sporting codes.